Hello and welcome back to the WHL Show. My name is Gabe Newman and I am your host, and I am so excited that you are here. Thank you so much for joining me today. First off, I wanted to apologize for missing last week. I got very sick and it was not the most fun. I am doing a little better now. I am still congested and I was very congested. You'll hear in the interview with our very special guest, Tarin Smith, this week. He was great and I was super congested. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. This week we have a lot of fun content and news for you guys. Last episode was sort of an introduction on what the show is and what it's going to be about. This week we're actually diving into what it will look like, and I think that that's really exciting. If you're watching this, you can see that I am using a much lower quality camera. I have been having some technical difficulties, so we're just going with this one for now, and we'll upgrade hopefully very soon. I have the wrong adapter for my higher quality camera, as well as my mic, so we're going with the mic on the headphones and the built-in camera, which isn't the best, but we're making do. If you were familiar with the show when I hosted a couple seasons ago, you're going to be familiar with the layout that we do the episodes from now on. So we'll go over players of the week. We'll talk about standings, player stats, highlights, different goings-ons around the league, etc. And then we'll bring on our special guest, and then we'll close out with a preview of what's to come for this coming week. I'm currently figuring out what day and time is the best to air. Right now I have settled on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Obviously, this episode is not coming up at Tuesday at 10 a.m. It is much later. So I would like to thank you guys for your patience and understanding as we figure out these little bumps and hurdles on the way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the players of the week. Prince Albert Raiders forward Tomas Mercic has been named the WHL Player of the Week. In 2 games, he had 5 goals, 2 assists, and a +4 rating. Mercic, selected by the St. Louis Blues with the 113th overall pick in the 4th round of the 2024 NHL entry draft, and is on pace for a career best season with 13 goals, 12 assists for 25 points in 16 games. He currently leads the Raiders in goals and points, and he leads the league with 9 power play tallies. He was originally selected 8th overall by the Medicine Hat Tigers in the 2021 WHL Prospect Draft, was traded to Prince Albert in a blockbuster offseason move. He's put up 46 goals and 65 assists for 111 points total in 147 regular season WHL games played, and another 4 assists in 9 playoff matches. His week last week, and why he was named Player of the Week, on November 15th, he and his Raiders snapped the Tri-Cities 12-game winning streak with 3 goals. He had 3 goals, including the game winner. It was a 5-3 win over the Ams. He had an empty netter at the end of the night, which solidified his first career hat trick, and he was named first star. On November 16th, in a 4-1 win over the Edmonton Oil Kings, he tied the game and then later in the game got another game-winning goal. He was also named first star for that game and was also his 3rd career 4-point night. He's on a 7-game point streak right now. Prince Albert is on a 4-game win streak, and will face his former team for the first time when the Raiders, who currently have an 8-8-2-0 record, host the Medicine Hat Tigers, who have a 12-9-0-0 record, on Wednesday, November 20th at 7 p.m. ST. Our goalie of the week is Dawson Cowan of the Spokane Chiefs. The 19-year-old posted his 2nd shutout of the season and 40th win of his WHL career. He is currently in his 2nd season as the Spokane Chiefs starter and has a current 3.00 goals against average, .898 save percentage, and 2 shutouts. He leads the league right now in shutouts, sits 2nd in minutes played, 999, and is one of just 4 goaltenders to hit 10 wins already in the 2024-2025 season. He recently attended the San Jose Sharks training camp. He was a free agent invitee. Before being traded to Spokane, Dawson Cowan was on the Winnipeg Ice roster. He currently holds a career record of 40-43-3-3 with a 3.52 goals against average and a .895 save percentage, 4 shutouts, and scored the 10th goalie goal in WHL history last season, which I was actually there for and saw in person. It was very fun. The reason he was named goaltender of the week last week was because he had a fantastic shutout. He faced 35 shots in a 3-0 win Red Deer Rebels. He was named first star of the game. Most saves that he's made in a single game this season. Spokane, who have a 13-9-0-0 record this season, hit the road to face the league-leading Everett Silvertips, who have a 16-3-1-0 record on Friday, November 22nd at 7:05 p.m. PST. Our WHL Rookie of the Week is goaltender Kaysen Kobelka. He plays for the Calgary Hitmen and was called up from the Calgary North Stars U18 AAA club prior to Hitmen's road trip. And with his current team, he sports a 5-1-2 record with a 2.21 goals against average and a .923 save percentage, helping the North Stars sit second on the Alberta Elite Hockey League standings. He made his Western Hockey League debut on November 13th against the Portland Winterhawks, and his second game was against the Wenatchee Wild on November 16th. He went 2-0-0 in his first 2 WHL games with a 1.94 goals against average and a .925 save percentage and 2 assists, which is incredible. He's had 2 assists in his first 2 WHL games as a goalie, which is always fun. We love goalie points. Now that we have the players of the week, we are going to go ahead and go into top 10 plays of the week. This is found on the WHL website, and all credit goes to them. I'm going to go ahead and put that video up next. Credits will also be listed down below. And if you are listening to the show, then you get to listen to the play-by-play commentary. And if you are watching, you get to see the cool plays that were highlighted.
Shorthanded breakaway. Why not to the goal? He scores! 2 shorthanded goals on the same penalty kill. Why not? Second of the game makes it 4-1 Tri-City. Gaining the line for his shot. Kendall puts off the left shoulder pad of Schlenker. Follow-up chance. Somehow found the back post, and what a save by the defenseman Tyson Jugnaut. Oh my goodness, I hope we have a second angle of that. Chips back in, Jagger down the near left wing, drives the left goal line, sharp angle, scores! Oh baby! How did he get that one in? Braden Jagger, 20 seconds into the third period, gives Moose Jaw a 2-1 lead.
Marcus up the right side at the circle, walks in, holds, throws it back out front. Bjarnason with a huge right pad save. They're banging away in close. Edwards takes the block. The Wheat King line to the far corner. He feeds it back out front, scores! Christensen knocked it out of midair. An overtime winner from the Raiders captain with perfect hand-eye coordination.
Bottom of the right circle, Peter up top, Shipley, a shot missed wide, rebound, Flamin, what a save by Pine! Holy smokes, he robbed him!
Now pass on right wing, Berkeley Canton, he'll charge forward with great speed, cuts wide on Price, here's the chance, here's the shot, he'll score! Great speed by Berkeley Canton, man, he was able to work his way past Caden Price, who's a very good skater in his own right. That just shows the great speed that Canton has. He accelerated, cut towards the goal, bouncing puck, but still was able to deliver it past the netminder.
And now one last call for the Broncos, perhaps, as Misselbacher looking to take off. 1-on-3, makes a move, great individual effort, backhand, scores! He's done it again! Luke Misselbacher caps off a 4-point night, and the Broncos walk it off in overtime!
Price with it now, right side center, Andrew Crystal, touch pass at Ginla, he'll penetrate. Ginla speeds in, nice move, chance, it's got tremendous release on a quick shot, beating Gardner, glove inside. And for the first time in this game, the Kelowna Rockets have taken a lead. It's now 2-1.
game. Hit bodies in front, still loose. Whack free, still in skates and bodies. To the right, in front. Oh, Dylan Ernst just made a save of the year candidate on Kaden Trembecki. Dylan Ernst was down and out. He dove across with the glove, folks, and this is unbelievable stuff from the Blazer 20-year-old goaltender who's red hot right now. That puck comes out of skates and bodies, rink-wide cross crease, one-timed, and Dylan Ernst.
Again, that video was found on the WHL website, and all credit goes to them. Now we're going to go into points leaders. The way that I break this down is I list the top 2 players in each category, and the categories are points, goals, assists, goals against average, and save percentage. So our points, our first place last week was Gavin McKenna at 37. This week it is also Gavin McKenna, and he has 41 points. He's leading the league of the Medicine Hat Tigers. Sorry, he plays for the Medicine Hat Tigers. And then in second place last week with 32, it was Everett Silvertips teammates Tyler McKenzie and Carter Bear. This week with 35, we have a tie again. It's Carter Bear of the Everett Silvertips and Luke Mestelbacher of the Swift Current Broncos. Our leaders for goals. Last week, it was Cameron Schmidt of the Vancouver Giants with 20. This week with 22, it is still Cameron Schmidt of the Vancouver Giants. Last week, we had a pretty big tie, which was super fun. It was 17 goals. They were second in the league. It was Tyler McKenzie of the Everett Silvertips, Shea Van Olm of the Spokane Chiefs, Cohen Zemer of the Prince George Cougars, and Hunter St. Martin of the Medicine Hat Tigers. This week, we only have a 2-way tie. It is Carter Bear of the Everett Silvertips and Cohen Zemer of the Prince George Cougars. They are second in the league for goals with 19. For assists, Gavin McKenna is back on top. Last week, he was also on top with 26. This week, he has 28. And second is a tie again. Last week, it was a 3-way tie with Clark Caswell of the Swift Current Broncos, Riley Hyde of the Prince George Cougars, and Berkeley Catton of the Spokane Chiefs. They were tied for second with 20 assists. Now in second place this week, it is Clark Caswell and Berkeley Catton with 23 apiece. They are second in the league. Goals against average, we are now on to our goalies. Our goals against average, we have in first place. Last week, it was Jesse Sanch with a 2.15 goals against average. This week, it is also Jesse Sanch, also with a 2.15 GAA. In second, last week, it was Ethan Eskett of the Brandon Wheat Kings. He had a 2.59 GAA. This week, it is Evan Gardner of the Saskatoon Blades. He has climbed the rankings and is now leading second in the dub for goals against average. Is a 2.53. And then our save percentage, last week, it was Carson Bjarnason of the Brandon Wheat Kings with a 0.925. This week, it is still Carson Bjarnason. His numbers did go down a little. However, he is at a 0.920, which wasn't that much of a decline. And then last week, for our second place, Jesse Sanch again of the Everett Silvertips had a 0.915. And this week, Evan Gardner again takes that second place spot with a 0.919 save percentage. Now we get into our standings. This I break down by conference, and then I go down into overall, and I compare them to last week, just like we compared last week's league leaders with and players. So this week on the Eastern Conference, in first are the Saskatoon Blades, second are the Lethbridge Hurricanes, and third are the Swift Current Broncos. Last week, it was very similar. The Lethbridge Hurricanes were in first, however, and Saskatoon was in second with Swift Current in third. So the same 3 teams, but the actual standings are flip-flopping around a little. Western Conference, they are actually the same. So this was the same that it was last week. This week and last week, it was first place Everett, second place Prince George, and third place Tri-City. Overall, we do have a new contender in third place. Last week, it was Everett first, Tri-City second, and Prince George third. This week, it is Everett first, Tri-City second, and Saskatoon third. So they are climbing up. Now we go on to our power rankings, just like with the top 10 plays of the week. This is found on the WHL website, and all credit goes to them. If you are listening, you get to hear everything going on. If you're watching, you get to see the fun rankings. This is Cami Kepke of the WHL and her top 10 power rankings of last week.
They don't make it easy, but they sure do make it entertaining. With an overtime win against the Calgary Hitmen, the Tri-City Americans have won 12 straight games to set a modern franchise record and claim top spot for the very first time in the WHL Power Rankings. Veteran Carter McAdams led the week for the Ams with 4 goals and 3 assists, while Nathan Preston was named WHL Goaltender of the Week with a 47-save effort against the Red Deer Rebels. We'll see if TC can stretch it to a lucky number 13 as they kick off an East Division road trip in Prince Albert on Friday. But there's another rising force the Americans will need to face on this Canadian swing. Swift Current has cracked the top 5 for the first time this season with 5 wins in a row. Luke Mistelbacher erupted for 3 goals and 6 assists in 3 games this week. He's cracked the 100-point milestone in his WHL career, and he's also on a league-best 14-game point streak. Seattle Kraken prospect Clark Caswell is also right behind him with 5 points of his own. And the Broncos have plenty of time to rest with no games on the docket until they host Tri-City next Tuesday. Kelowna looks like it's truly starting to overcome a rough start to the season with points in 8 of their last 10 games. The Rockets are knocking on the door of a playoff spot after beating Seattle and Saskatoon while falling short in overtime against the Spokane Chiefs. Washington Capitals prospect Andrew Crystal is averaging nearly 3 points per game, while alternate captain Caden Price added 2 goals and 4 assists this week. Price is also a Kraken prospect, and he's now tied for the league lead in points by a defenseman. But the Rockets have their work cut out for them this weekend. Kelowna is heading north to face the 3rd-ranked Prince George Cougars and Tempo WHL Player of the Week Cohen Zemer. The LA Kings prospect has 10 goals in his last 4 games, and the Cats are on a 7-game point streak. So we've got some pretty serious streaks on the line as we head into Friday night. You can catch all games at WHL Live and get the full Power Rankings breakdown at WHL.ca.
Those were our top 10 power rankings of last week. Again, that was found on the WHL website, and all credit goes to the WHL. Next, we get to our CHL top 10. This compares teams from across the CHL. Because this is the WHL show, I only highlight the WHL teams that are on the top 10 list. This week, there are only 2 WHL teams on the CHL top 10. In 4th are the Everett Silvertips, and then in 6th are the Prince George Cougars. Next, we have our general news over the league. This is a super quick rundown over highlight headlines and general happenings around the league. A couple of them I will go into further detail, but mostly it's just a kind of quick view of the news around the league. The WHL announced a couple weeks ago that there is the Wednesday night in the dub, where basically every Wednesday, or not every Wednesday, but on specific Wednesdays, there are one free game that is highlighted and that anybody can watch. Last week on Wednesday, it was the Calgary Hitmen versus the Portland Winterhawks. The Calgary Hitmen won that game. It was actually Kobelka's debut, and that is the game that earned him the Rookie of the Week honors. He logged 28 saves, and also Keats Fawcett of the Hitmen scored the game-winning goal. The Calgary Hitmen secured a 3-1 win over the Portland Winterhawks, and it was the first free view on Wednesday night in the dub. Next Wednesday night in the dub, the Lethbridge Hurricanes are going to be taking on the Everett Silvertips. That's going to be on Wednesday, November 20th. The WHL is currently leading the way in Craig Button's 2026 NHL draft projections with 5 players in the top 10, including Medicine Hat Tigers forward and star Gavin McKenna. 15 WHL players medaled with Canada at the 2024 U17 World Challenge. Canada White defeated Canada Red by a 3-1 score, ensuring 8 WHL players left starting out with gold, and 7 other WHL players scored silver medals at the 2024 U17 World Challenge. The WHL Commissioner Dan Neer on NCAA men's hockey eligibility changes. He issued a statement, and a brief recap over what all of that means is the WHL players are now eligible to play in the NCAA upon graduation of the WHL. So if they want to play their junior years from 16 to 20, they can in the major juniors and then go on to play in NCAA Division I hockey. Previously, they were not able to do that. They were not eligible for that. So players would either go the major junior route, and then if they were to play college hockey, they would go play in U Sports, which is big in Canada, or they would go like a BCHL route or another league where they are still eligible to go to that college hockey route, and they're pursuing that dream of playing college hockey and then hopefully making it to the NHL afterwards. now kind of combined. And so this raises a lot of questions. What is the future of youth sports looking like? Honestly, what's the future of the WHL looking like? Are we going to have a lot more players come and join us now because they are able to play for the NCAA later on? Are we going to see fewer overagers in the league? Are we going to see, there's a lot of questions raised. And also, what does the BCHL's future look like? What are those other leagues, those alternative leagues that players would join? What do they look like? So there are a bunch of things. So that is a big thing and is very interesting and something to pay attention to. Some recent transactions throughout the league. The Americans have signed Savin Verk, who is a 2007 born player. He signed with the Tri-City Americans and was selected 46th overall in the 2022 WHL Prospects Draft. The Wenatchee Wild have acquired the rights to 6'5" defenseman Brandon Dunphy from the Regina Pats. The Rockets acquired Nate Corbett from the Medicine Hat Tigers and in exchange for Newtons and draft picks. The Regina Pats acquired 2007-born forward Zach Pantelakis from the Kamloops Blazers in exchange for 2 fifth-round picks. And in a big one, the Everett Silvertips have acquired Jackson Vaughn from the Regina Pats. There's been a lot of drama surrounding this trade. The story as we know it is Corbin Vaughn was suspended indefinitely by the team. We have no idea why. There's been no information. And Jackson requested a trade almost immediately after, said he wanted out. All of this information is actually found on the Patcast, a Regina Pats podcast, with an interview of the Regina Pats general manager. We know that a trade for Corbin Vaughn is in the works. We don't know where he is headed to just yet. We are just waiting to see if any more information will be revealed. We have no idea how much or when, and it's just got kind of a big waiting game. So after that bountiful amount of information for you guys, we are going to go ahead and introduce our interview of the week. He is Tarin Smith, defenseman Tarin Smith of the Everett Silvertips. Thank you so much to Tarin for joining me. I really had a great time chatting with him, although I was super sick and congested, and you can hear the change in my voice immediately. It's crazy. I hope you guys enjoy getting to know Tarin Smith a little bit off the ice and also his perspective of on the ice and all the fun things. And yeah, I'm going to let him take it away. Thank you so much. Perspective, what has been the Silvertips' goal and main focuses going into the season?
I think our main goal is kind of just to be a playoff team, a team that obviously can contend to win the league. Obviously, that's the main goal, but I think just kind of playing as one has been kind of our motto and just like being tight-knit all the time.
What has been your focus specifically as a defenseman and also now wearing the A, if I'm correct, but with that like leadership perspective, what's been your focus this season?
Working on myself, being able to play on both sides of the puck. Obviously, filling in that A role is pretty big steps. So I think kind of just being kind of that mentor for the younger and newer guys, being someone they can kind of learn from or come to for stuff is obviously huge for them. So
you're doing some really well in the standings, leading the CHL, at least leading the WHL number one. What are some strengths that have you guys at that number one spot?
I think just how fast we play. We're a super high-paced team who moves the puck quickly, and I think that's hard for a lot of teams to defend. I know as a defenseman, that's one of the hardest things ever is when the other team just keeps shoving it back at you. So I think just how fast and hard we are to play against.
So you were drafted by the Ducks, 79th overall. How was that experience? What was that like?
That was sweet. Definitely something I'll remember my entire life. I got to experience it in person in Las Vegas at the Sphere. So obviously that was pretty cool. And then going down to Anaheim for a little bit and just being around all the NHL guys and seeing what they do and how it's like, it's super cool. So
was there anybody who really stood out to you at the while you were in Anaheim?
Yeah. No one like really in particular, but it kind of just stuck out to me like how just awesome all those guys are. Like they're 10, some of them are 10, 15 years older than me, but they treat me like like they would anyone else. Like they'll sit down and talk to me. They'll say what's up to me. So that's just super cool how easy they make it for you. So
Growing up in Saskatchewan, who were your favorite NHL teams growing up?
huge Oilers fan growing up. Watched a lot of them. Always been an Oilers fan. My dad was. So
When did you start first playing hockey? How old were you?
I was 3. Started playing organized hockey when I was 3.
Did you play any other sports growing up, or was it only hockey?
Yeah, I played quite a few sports. I played baseball every year until the end of high school, and then tried like all the other high school sports like basketball, football, whatever. But hockey was obviously the one that stuck. So
Was there a particular reason why hockey was the one that stuck so much?
I think that's just been my main love ever since I was young. I grew up around the game. My parents both love hockey. My dad played. So kind of just growing up in a hockey family and a hockey culture, that would have been the biggest thing. So
I love it. You kind of did this for me at the beginning, but could you describe to me what your game is as a defenseman on the Silvertips?
yeah, I think kind of one of those D-men who can kind of play in all situations. I feel like I can power play. I can play on the power play well. I can penalty kill well. Just playing hard in the D zone and then also creating offense when needed.
Who's a teammate who you would least want to play against on the Tips?
Someone like Carter Bear or like a Tyler McKenzie, just because, I don't know, those guys are super good with the puck. And obviously that's hard to play against. But then at the same time, they're so smart, and it's like it's hard to defend guys that are like that.
Those are 2 big names for the Tip. Who would you think would be maybe an underrated player for the Tips who maybe is doing really well but hasn't gotten a lot of praise for it?
I think someone like a Kane Wilkie or a Breck Liskey, who are both rookie 16-year-olds. I know how hard it is to come into the league at 16, and both of those two have done a tremendous job stepping into pretty big roles on a good team. So it's pretty special to see that.
Who would you say is your closest teammate on the team? Who are you closest to?
I don't know. I hang out with pretty much everyone, but I probably spend the most time with Julius Mietinen away from the rink.
Who do you bill it with, or is that Julius?
I live with Clark Schaefer. Got to know him
Nice.
pretty well this year. So
Awesome. Now, this season, obviously, you had the East Conference swing, so that was fun. But what team were you or are you most excited to play against this season?
I think I was most excited to play Saskatoon. I had a lot of family and friends at that game, so that's obviously pretty cool to play in front of them. So
how did that go?
It was good. We won in overtime. That was good. Super cool to see all those people coming out.
You mentioned earlier that your favorite team was the Oilers. It doesn't have to be on the Oilers specifically, but who are your NHL idols growing up?
Yeah. I watched a lot of Drew Doughty growing up. He was on the Kings at the time when they were a really good team. My dad was a huge fan of him. I loved the way he played. And then also Erik Karlsson. He was a big name when I was younger. Grew up watching a lot of him, kind of that offensive defenseman kind of thing. So,
is there a player, one of those or another one that you maybe model your game after?
Yeah. I try to play Morgan Riley on the Leafs, and I kind of see some similarities in my game to his. Obviously, it would be pretty cool to model my game after him. So
yeah, it'd be awesome. Do you have any, like, on an average game day, do you have any superstitions or rituals that you got to follow?
Kind of. I just I stick to a pretty tight routine. I kind of do the same thing hour by hour, minute by minute, sort of. That kind of gets me feeling the same every game. So just sticking to a tight routine.
What does your routine look like?
I'll wake up at the same time, 8:30 every single game day, and then I'll go to the rink, hop on the ice, morning skate. I'll come back and I'll have the same turkey sandwich at 12 o'clock, and then I'll nap from 1 to 2 every day, and then shower from like 2:15 to 2:30, and then eat around 3. So,
love it. Got it down pat.
Yeah.
Who on the team do you think has the best locker room music?
Definitely me. I play the music in the room, and I've heard some of the other guys' playlists, and it's not too great.
Who do you think is the worst? If you could pick one.
Julius Mietinen.
What does he play?
Just straight rap all the time.
Straight
Always
rap. That's so funny. So I know one of your nicknames is Smitty, but like, do you have any other nicknames or any hockey nicknames that maybe fans don't know about?
Yeah. Last year, Ben Hemmerling started calling me Smeagol, and then I don't know where he got that from, but lots of people started calling me that. So
Love it. If you were okay, this one's a little bit more out there, but bear with me. If you were stranded on a desert island, which teammate would you pick to help you survive?
Eric Jameson.
Yeah, why's that?
I don't know. I feel like I would just be able to sit there and relax, and he'd be on the beach building a raft to get us home or something like that. So
Love it. And then on the flip side of that, who do you think would get you killed the quickest?
probably like Jesse Haslop.
Oh yeah?
He would just sit there and freak out. Yeah, it'd be a
That's
mess.
funny. When I asked Petro that same question, he said you. So if that is anything.
He said he wouldn't want to be on there with me.
Yeah, he said that you would get him killed.
Whatever.
Last but not least, before I let you go, what's the message that you have for Silvertips fans?
Just we got an exciting team this year. Obviously we love when you guys come out and support us, and the fans have been awesome this year, so I'd like to see that keep coming.
Thank you so much to Tarin Smith again for joining me. I really appreciated having him on. It was a blast. Now, to close out this episode, we are going to look forward at the week ahead. Tuesday night, we have 2 games. It's going to be Medicine Hat at Saskatoon and then Tri-City at Swift Current. Wednesday night, it is Medicine Hat at Prince Albert, Tri-City at Regina, Victoria at Edmonton, and Wenatchee at Kelowna, and Lethbridge at Everett. Thursday night, there's only one game, and it is the Saskatoon Blades against the Moose Jaw Warriors. Friday night is when we get really busy again. That is going to be Tri-City against the Brandon Wheat Kings, the Regina Pats against the Swift Current Broncos, Victoria at Calgary, Medicine Hat at Edmonton, Lethbridge at Portland, Kamloops at Prince George, Vancouver at Kelowna, and Spokane at Everett. Saturday, again, a busy day, as Saturdays always are. We have Swift Current at Brandon, Tri-City at Moose Jaw, Regina at Prince Albert, Everett at Kamloops, Saskatoon at Medicine Hat, Wenatchee at Portland, Victoria at Red Deer, Lethbridge at Seattle, and Spokane at Vancouver. Rounding out the week with just 3 games on Sunday, we have Red Deer at Edmonton, Prince George at Vancouver, and Everett at Kelowna. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. I appreciate you as we figure out the rocky bumps and ups and downs of establishing a new schedule and getting everything lined up. So I really appreciate you if you've watched and listened all the way through the end. You are a real one. Shout out to you. All the love. And just stay tuned for next week for some more great content. Thank you so much and have a great week.